time with us creating and playing. All right, so we are going to get started, but before I get started, I want to say hello to everybody real quick here. So we have some good friends watching from joining us from North Carolina, good friends from New Jersey, from Panama. Hello there. We have friends from Dallas, North Carolina again. Sunny, Austin, toasty and hot today here too in Houston. Hello from Louisiana, Pennsylvania, California. Oh my goodness, we have so many friends joining in. Columbus, Ohio. We have good friends from New York, from DC. Happy Wednesday, Mary. Hello, everyone. Okay, so today we are going to be creating some bubble lettering with some colored pencils. So if you do not have a black notebook or a cardstock or a journal, like a black journal like this, you might want to use different colors because it's really going to look different. The reason why it's going to be a bubble lettering because it's going to look like bubbles. And if you look at the bubbles, they're transparent, right? So there's the reason why we're using some white pencils in here. And I'm using the black edition from Faber-Castell. Fantastic pencils, very affordable price. Amazing quality. I think you're really gonna like this one. Especially, I know summer just started, but when back to school, you'd need some pencils. You love some coloring books and things like that for projects. I think you're gonna love this one. This is called the Super Soft Black Edition pencils, and yes, they really do show up in a black paper like this. My journal is from Michaels. I believe that this one is from Ranger, but it doesn't matter what brand, as long as you have a black cardstock, black marker pad, that's going to work for us. Okay, hello. Okay, so for the colors, we really need white. You don't need all of these color. You can actually just use purple and a little bit of yellow or some pink. But if you want to do some blending with me today, then you want to grab some blue and pink and we'll make some purple like that. We want a little bit of yellow. If you look at a bubble, really, it's like it's translucent, it's iridescent at the same time. You know, it looks like the bubble, the lights are reflecting, and it's so pretty. And so that's what we're going to try and create today, but we're going to create our own bubble lettering. So before we get to the blending, before we get to the coloring and all that, let's learn a little bit about how we can compose letters and turn it into a bubble lettering. Hello, Patricia. Hello there. Okay, so I'm going to try and move over here just so we can practice a little bit. What we're going to need is we're going to start with our kind of like base letters. Okay, so remember the size of your letter. You want to start with something a little small because what's going to happen is this is going to be our wire frame. So let's start with a letter A. I'm just going to sketch very lightly a letter A like this, right? So this is my wire frame. Now, you don't have to do this all the time. When you get familiar and you know what to do next time, I don't think you're going to start with a wireframe. But for now, I just want to show you because it's important to see the visual. I can just draw a bubble lettering like this and make it into an A, and you're not going to learn anything. So I want to start really with a wireframe like this. I'm going to go zoom in just real quick. Rachel, I believe that we do have a handout though. So if you want to just start with the sketch of the word create, you feel free to do that. Okay, so imagine that you have an invisible letter A, okay? So what we want to do is we want to add another stroke around it like this. And of course, when it's a bubble, we don't have anything sharp, right? So over here in this area, we're going to round it up as round as you can. So maybe we need to make this a little bit bigger too, like that. And again, at the bottom of the letter A, we don't want anything straight or anything sharp like that. Everything has to be round, just like that. So even here, we're not going to do a straight line. We're going to go curve it just a little bit, just like that. Like this. Oh no, the white pencil is really going to be important, but you can use a very light blue or a light gray like that. So now we have a letter A outside. Now for the inside, we can just do an oval shape in the middle, just like that. And then I'm going to grab my eraser that we can erase. That's why I sketched it very lightly so that I can still erase it. Not all pencils are erasable. So you might have to use a pencil like this because it's going to give you a little glare. So let's try letter R. Can you see? Oh, you can still see the sketch. So you just use a regular pencil like this. All right, that's our wireframe of the letter R. Now I'm going to use my white pencil. Again, over the side, we're going to make it curve. So we're just adding an outside stroke following the letter, right? Here, we're going to curve this like that. Bring this up. Again, no straight lines, but a little curve like this, just like that. I'm going to go follow this, go around it like that. And then round like that as well. And then you can make round on the inside. Yeah, that's gonna work, Ayana. I'm using a colored pencil as well, actually. So that's gonna work. It's perfect. So now you have that. Well, you can always make some adjustments. Maybe instead of using your white pencil straight on or right away, you can just use the pencil to just sketch your letters. Feel free to do that. Feel free to adjust the inside. Maybe you want it slightly bigger. I think I really like this just small, but maybe that was a little too small. So just adjust that one. Maybe this one too. All right. So let's try another letter before we get started because this is the most important. Sometimes it's the letters that are really hard to kind of like imagine or to create. So let's try a letter F. So I'm going to do my wireframe. Oops, I cannot be seen in the camera. Like, there we go. Letter F. Just like that. And again, the style of your letter is going to depend how you started with your wireframe, right? Does that make sense? So because I am doing my wireframe or my letters like this, kind of like very neat and basic. It's very serif. So what we want to do is, no, very sans serif. How about we play around with it? Let's make it a little fun. Adjust our letters. Letter F like this. And just like that. You can make it also maybe even when you're doing a script, you can still make it into a bubble. I think I've never tried it, but we can try all of this. All right, so let's do all three. This is our exercise. Everything is falling from my desk. Here we go. So we're going to follow our letter outside, adding a stroke over there. Here, we're not going to do straight, so we're going to curve this part like that. Over here as well, another curved line, just like this. So we're enclosing the wireframe, locking it inside. Just like that. So that's my letter F. Again, avoid any sharp lines. Even with this one, I feel like that's too sharp. All right, so let's do this one. I feel like this one is a little tricky because look, it's going to touch this part right here, but we're going to try. So we're just closing it in. Closing in, locking in our letter inside. And we're just following the shape of that initial sketch of the letter. That's a cute letter F. Just like that. Well, what happens is that the more you practice around with it, that's why it's always important to start with a sketch. If you feel kind of like feel still uncomfortable with the thickness, sometimes the left might be a little um too thin and not thick enough and not bubbly enough. So kind of like adjust it. You're really going to see it. Look at our letter A here. This is where I started. This is the initial sketch, right? And I made this one slightly thicker. So you're just going to have to adjust, which side you want to follow. If it's this one is you want it not too thick, then I should have followed this line here, but I wanted more thick and more bubble looking instead of just kind of like just a thicker lettering. All right. Okay, here we go. So are we gonna attempt to do the letter F? I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna look bubble. It's gonna look like brush lettered and just extra thickness. So we're gonna keep it like that. We're gonna stick with the one more time, one more letter. Let's do it. How about we'll start with the letter H. We're gonna make it fun. We're gonna make this one very small. This part right there. And I think that's the fun part about playing with letters is that when we're doing any type of lettering, this is nothing to do with your handwriting. So you're basically drawing your letters. So you are free to go outside the norm. If you have been writing your letters in a very specific way, this is a perfect chance and time to play around with your letters because remember, you're really not writing it, we're drawing it. So feel free to adjust it. Maybe you want the hump of the letter H to be much bigger than how you would normally would write it. Do it. Play, experiment. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. I think starting with one side, okay, then understanding the thickness and the distance from your wireframe, just like that. And you want to follow along with that too, or at least very, very similar, right? So you start with that. I feel like this one is close enough. This one still might be a little too more wider, but it's going to be okay. And just like that. And then we're going to round this one up. My problem sometimes is that every time that there's a little a hump like this, I always struggle with, do I do a small curve like that or do I just put it together? And I'm going to show you an example of what I was talking about as I'm doing this with a little small curve in the middle like that. We're going to do that too. Curve this part right here. And then we have that, our letter H. So my problem with sometimes with the letter H, I'll show you and I'll do it again here so we can just see, depending on how wide my curve is, sometimes they're too close together. And so sometimes I don't have enough space to do the curve. So I would just normally just write like that. Where the line ended, I would just pick it up from there, bring it down. And just like that. So, I mean, it both looks good. We know that it's a letter H. Does that make sense? So you can make it like this with a little round in the middle. So how we can avoid this is really being mindful of your wireframe. So for example, especially when we start writing words, because right now when it's just one letter after the other, it's much easier. But then when we start doing words, now we're going to have the letter very close distance to the next letter, right? So let's do that. So let's do the create. I'm going to start with the word create and I'm going to use my pencil this time for sketching. So let's do that. See, this one is a long word. Is it going to fit? Is it going to fit here? That's my question. It might not. I might have to do a whole spread like this. Let's try that. Oops. Let's see. All right, let's do this. So I'm going to start with the letter C. Now, being mindful that I know this is going to be thicker. This is not the letter size, right? So I know that we're going to have thickness inside, thickness outside. So you want to be mindful of that one. So I'll have my letter R right over here. See, this is what I'm saying about it just depends on how thick you want your bubbles to look like and how big, the letters, each letter will be. So I'm just going to do letter R. Very simple. Just R. Yes, we're going to start drawing. So we're starting with our wireframes now. Be mindful of the distance of the letter C and the letter R. Look at that. They're really apart. That's a big space. And we're going to do it, we're going to try it both ways because this is where it's really important to try together. Like this one with the letter E. I think, do I want to, this is my question all the time when I'm drawing letters is like, do I want the letters to be playful, maybe have some where some are capital, maybe some are small letters, so I want you to think about that as well. If you want to play around, if you want to use the capital E instead of that letter E, so just think of that. I want you to make this your own as well. So letter A, look at my distance, my letters. And then letter T. I think this one's too close, so I can already see it. So I'm going to adjust it a little bit. And we're going to bring this up right here. Like that. And then we're going to do our letter E. Distance. I feel like I like doing capital letters better. I don't know. We're going to find out. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to start with my pencil also, even the sketching of my bubble letters, because I have a feeling that I might need to adjust a few things. So I'm going to do my letter C. I'm going to start with the inside just so I can gauge how thick the outside is going to be. And this is where using a pencil is super duper important because you can always adjust things if you didn't get it right the first time. Like this. Because remember, we want to curve everything. So I'm going to have to curve this one part right here of the letter C. Just like that. Gonna curve it. Let's try the gamma there. Probably you'll see this one better. Okay, and then we'll follow this shape of the letter C and just do a curve right there. Bring it down, bring it up, just like that. Now, looking at this one, I feel like I'm going to have enough space. Might have too much space, but we're going to be okay. Because remember, this is just our beginning sketch. We can always adjust it when it's time to use our white pencil. So I'm just following that. I always feel like my outside stroke is always much thicker than the one on the inside part of the letter, or you can call it my left stroke. Sometimes I always start super thick in there. But so we're just going to follow it and then round this up. Just like that. Then maybe we'll do that small curve, what we're talking about earlier. Just like that. Okay, the problem with this one that I'm already seeing, if we make this too long, it kind of looks similar to a letter N. So, just be mindful of that. I'm going to adjust mine a little bit because I don't want it too long. So I'm going to bring this up just a little bit more and not make it super long. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Now we're going to start our letter E again. I'm going to start with my outer stroke. Just like this. I feel like I'm good. How's your spacing? Is your spacing okay? Now, letter E is, I feel like the letter E is where I really struggle the most because look at this. This is my problem with my letter E, and I'm going to share it with you. Because I'm already, this is my wireframe, right? And this is my outer stroke. Where am I going to put my inside stroke? So this is where this part right here is the two will meet right there. Where it ended, I'm bringing it outside again to create that stroke like this. Kind of really weird. I might have to adjust this. Let's see if I change it to kind of like more like a straight, but not really straight, but just kind of like enough to see this one right there. And then bring this down. That looks much better. All right. Now, sometimes having the wireframe inside might give you a little confusion. So if you have to erase it, like that, so you can really see it, because I know personally that's me. I need to kind of like visually see everything. So I erase my wireframe just so I can see if my thickness is balanced. Yeah, Sarah, me too. Me too. All right. So I'm again always starting with my outer stroke with the letter A. See the distance of my A to my E this time around? I feel like they're touching now. That's okay. It's gonna be all right. Because nature is like that. Inconsistent, beautiful. So we're gonna bring this down and then just a little bit like that. Now, definitely my distance from my A to my T is too close, my friends. So we're gonna start putting the inside. All right. Erase my wireframe just so I can see. There, definitely too close. So I'm going to adjust it now. While I can, I'll write my letter T again. Hopefully this time the distance would be much better. There we go. All right, start with the outside. Actually, the top this time. Just like that. Curve. Already the chubbiness of the letters are so cute already. I might not have to loop this. I don't know. I kind of like without the loop. So I'm not going to do this part right here. I'm going to erase that. And I'm just going to go loop this. And said, this is what I always say, to not be married to one idea, because as you're going along with your project, you're going to see things where, oh, you know what? I don't really like that. Then you can adjust it. Like this one. For example, if we've written this with our white pencil already, there are already two mistakes, that my distance from my A to my T, and now my distance from my T to my letter E. So that's why pencil is my best friend. And there is no shame of that. I've heard many different people saying, "Oh, I don't use pencil. I just go draw right away." Good for them. But I say it's also a good practice to just start with a pencil. I mean, I understand the being fluid and being just fun and going along you know, with the flow is also great. But I feel like there's a happy medium to that one. And I'm already seeing that I really love this look better than this look right here. See, I have a little curved in here instead of just kind of like one big oval. See, I added kind of like a little, I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. Like this, just like that. and then not curve it so much where it's just a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do here, just like that. There's a happy medium in between. There's just that happy, um, it doesn't have to be always to the left or to the right. You're just going to find that balance in there because sometimes, some teachers would tell you one thing and the others would tell you another. But what I always encourage is your own imagination. For example, I'm showing you two examples of letter T's in here. You can always change it, right? I started with this letter E right here, and then I just sketch and I just keep sketching. I just keep playing. And then I've noticed that, you know what? I'm really liking this look of a letter E. So because I'm using a pencil, I can always come back in here and adjust my other letter E according to my new type now. So your first idea is not always the best idea. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. So you can just always feel free to change it and be okay with it. I'm going to adjust my letters before we get started with our white. Just kind of like adjust the thickness, see if the thickness and all that is good for you, good to you. Maybe I can adjust my letter T a little bit. Maybe it's too close or it's too far from the letter E. So I can adjust a little bit there so it appears closer. Just like that. My letter A too, I want to, ooh, it's like running away from me. Okay, we're going to adjust this one like that. Letter C, how's my letter C in there? Like that. I like that. This is good. Oh, thank you so much, Sharon. That's so kind. That is really a kind thing to say. Okay, so now, guys, I'm just going to erase the wireframe inside just so I can visually see everything much, much better. I don't know. My brain just works better this way. I know how some people are like, you don't have to erase all the time. I do. Trust me, I do. Okay, it looks good. It looks good to me. How's your letters? How's your good? Good. Okay, so now this is the part where we have to take out some of the graphite. So I'm using a kneadable eraser from Faber-Castell. It's like this little putty, So um, I'm just kind of like taking out the graphite on the outer side. And what I'm going to do is just roll it down so I can erase parts of the sketch. Not a whole lot. Like that. Just taking off some of that graphite. And now we're going to start sketching with our pencil, our white pencil. Again, if you do not have a white colored pencil, you can use a very, very light gray, the lightest gray you can find, or the lightest blue that you can find, okay? It's okay, Anna. You can restart, no problem. As long as you understand now the wireframe and how to set your letters and how to set up your letters, you got this. You really do got this. All right. So let's start with the letter C. Remember, you can always come back in and add more thickness to your lines, all right? So I'm just going to go in slowly but surely, not trying to do one big stroke. So I'm just doing just little strokes. And we can add more thickness later. I just really want to lay down all the lines for all our letters. Just like that. All right. I'm going to go move a little faster too, because honestly, when I'm doing art, I get so lost in it, and I do take my sweet time, but unfortunately, we have a very limited time of an hour that if I would work at the normal speed that I normally do, we will not finish anything. Because I would be here in my office, I'd be humming and I'd be singing and or I'll be watching something. And so I just take my time. But I think that's the beauty of it though, is that it's not always about the result, you know? It's about that process of and what we're doing. We're enjoying that. We're being in the now, in that moment. Yeah, me too. I get so it's like little do I know I spent like 2 hours in one artwork. I'm like, oh, well, that's a little bit excessive, but I had fun. So with you being here with me today, that tells me a whole lot about you that you really do enjoy learning and you love creating and that makes us officially friends. Okay, I'm gonna go back here. It's okay if it's not perfect. Okay, so it doesn't have to be like clean lines and all that. Because remember, when we're looking and we're talking about a bubble, we don't really see lines in theirs. It's just, again, it's iridescent, it's translucent. So we don't want any sharp anyway. So it's just kind of like, and of course, this is not real bubble, but we're giving that illusion of bubble. Okay, so back in here like that. I hope you guys are all doing well. Summertime, it's super hot. It's really super hot. If Leslie, if you're using a white paper, I highly suggest a very light blue. Neons don't work on black paper. Yeah, these black edition pencils are, yes, perfect. All right, sorry, I just saw that. So really light blue, okay? So really light blue. All right. So now I'm gonna do that. Because doing that light blue will give, the visual of everything around. So you're kind of like creating a border. So everything inside that border of that light blue is going to look like white. But at this project, we want it to look like translucent. So that light blue will give that effect as well. Okay. I think I made this one bigger than this. It's okay. We're okay. There we go. Yes, yes, you can use regular. I don't think pencils alone would do the trick, but because of the blending of the colors, so we're going to add in a little bit. But if you just want to learn how to create the bubble lettering, then yeah, this is it, really, honestly. This is everything. Yeah, we're going to add color. All right. So here we go. Now I'm going to play around with my colors. I'm going to start with my letter, did I say letter? With my color blue and my color pink. So what we want is when we're looking at a bubble, really, it has because the colors, it reflects color. So it's you can see kind of like the rainbow in there. So sometimes you see blue, sometimes you see purple, sometimes you would see a glimpse of kind of like a yellow, a tint of yellow. So many different spectrum of colors. But today we're going to stick with the purples and the blues. If you have maybe teals, maybe a little bit of green in there and a little bit of yellow, um, play around with it. But the key to it, the main key is that to not color the whole letter. So that's what we do not want to do. I mean, of course, if that's what you want to do, I cannot stop you from doing so. But what we're going to do today is we're going to like create a border inside, but instead of outside, we're going to color inside a little bit just around the strokes of each letter. Okay. And so I'm going to do here. So I kind of want to have where a part of the letters are going to have a little bit of that light reflection. So we're going to keep parts of it and we're going to add a little kind of like sunburst or rays in a little bit in there. But right now I'm just going to concentrate on my pink. So just adding a pink a little bit here and there. See, I'm not just a little bit, just like that. So I'm going to stick with one color first and work my way. Notice how I'm using my pencil and holding it as well. I'm not using it close to this one because I want to be easy on my pressure. Because if I'm holding my pencil right here, this is where I'm really needing a lot of control. But since I want to go light on my pressure, I'm holding it to the middle, like here. And this one is resting in between my pointer and my thumb. So, and it's going side. So you're using the tip and the body of your pencil, right? And go easy on your pressure. Because remember, we're going to build up the colors in just a little bit. So we're just laying down our first layer in here. So you don't want any harsh line, but if you do, it's okay because we can blend it out later with some other colors. You can even blend it with a little bit of white. And just like that. What if you don't want to add color? That's it. Sarah, you're done. Congratulations. You just finished your bubble lettering. All right, and then I'm gonna start adding here. Just like that. You can start practicing other letters. Maybe start bubble lettering your name. It's gonna be fun, kind of like making your notebook cover. This is what I love about hand lettering is that you can make anything personalized and add your touch, personal touch to everything, like your notebooks, your journals, even make your own shirts, pouches. There's so many things now that you can do. And if you're going to use like a digital tablet, like an iPad or any Android tablet that has any drawing software, you can do the same thing. Start with your wireframe, start with your sketch, use a pencil, a digital pencil, and then build from there. So an analog way and the digital way would be the same thing. And the more you do it, the more you do this, you might not need to sketch anymore because you're just going to know exactly the spacing and all that. But I'm going to tell you a secret, even though that I have been doing this for a very long time, my pencil is really my best friend. I just use my pencil. I sketch everything. And then now I'm going to use blue. Um, where the light is coming or that doesn't apply to the bubbles. Is that a scientific question? I'm just asking. Well, I'm really gonna add those strokes later, just kind of like to show that light reflection. I don't know, it's just a visual interest. All right, now I'm gonna add the blue. You can do that over here. And these colors are the one that's giving us an iridescent look to it. The blue and the purples and all that. Oh, so pretty already. Parts of it I am putting on top of the pink, so it's giving some purple blend, just like that. So now if you are using a light blue and you've done your pink, maybe you want to add a little bit of like mint color to it. It will still give that iridescent color like a fairy. So pretty. Just add a little bit of green in there or maybe purple. And again, notice how I'm using my pencil right here. because I want to be really gentle and easy on the strokes like that. You know, when we're watching videos on social media, we see all these fast videos now. When you start doing things, then you're going to really appreciate that. Oh, that was not easy. Or that was not that fast. I wish it was that fast. But no, with the power of editing now, um, everything just seems easy when we're watching. And when really you get to work on that project, then you realize and appreciate that. Wow, it really did took a long time to create that masterpiece. Everything is masterpiece. All my project is. I'm gonna come back in here. I feel like this needs pink underneath, just like that. Have that blue in there. I think we created this project before using some gelatos. The gelatos are so fun. Basically, if you use the gelatos in here, you're gonna have to do some smudging. And I feel like it's gonna be more loose at the same time because the colors sometimes they cannot be so precise, not like the pencil where you still have a whole lot of control where you would apply it. And so you have more precision with a pencil than when using a gelato. But the look is different. That's where, people would ask me, why do you have so many art mediums? Where do you use that? It's just depending on your mood, depending on the look also that you're looking for. Sometimes you want that not so precise, not so accurate, that maybe you want to use watercolors. So it'll still be the same. If you use a light blue around it, maybe use a pencil first, a light blue pencil, and then just do a wet on wet technique um, to color it in the pinks and the purples and the blues and all that, like this. Ooh, it looks so pretty. Yeah, we're gonna need the white to create that kind of like shining through color. So for example, we're gonna start with some of my practice letters in here. So what I want is kind of like the stroke inside, right? So we're gonna play with some strokes, short, long. Now for this one, you might have to sharpen your pencils like that. So that's the look that we're going to create, almost like where the sun or the light is shining through your bubbles, just like that. So you want to sharpen it so you have precise lines. This is when you're going to want some precise lines, kind of like that. So that's the look that it almost looks like metallics, like sheen to it because of that light shining through or peeking through. Now, if you're happy with your colors, do I want to add a little bit of yellow? I think I do. In the areas where I'm going to add that stroke like this, I want to add that white. I'm going to go over this too. Maybe here, parts right here. See how when we added that yellow, it almost giving us that shine already. So over here at the bottom, just like that. So pretty. So pretty. Okay, and then, all right, go back in here. Before I add the white, I'm gonna do the yellow first. It's already giving me that very shiny metallic look to it, just like that. And then I'm gonna add it here at the bottom. what we want for that white strokes that we're going to add. We don't want it where it's just super thick and you don't see the rays, that individual strokes. So it's really important to sharpen your pencils. I'm gonna add one here. And again, I don't have sharp lines. Remember, I don't have, this is what I'm trying to avoid, like that. Although it's not, I mean, it's not wrong, but just the look that I'm looking for is I want more soft like this. So there's going to be a difference of that when applying with a soft pressure instead of like that. So you get two different looks. You just decide which one you want. For me, I want this very soft look. So I'm doing very easy, going very easy and light with my pencils, right? And they blend so well together, these pencils. I couldn't believe the price. When I saw it, I'm like, that's all? I mean, wow. Really good quality. This. A little bit of shine to that. Maybe here. And then here, the bottom. I want a lot of light peeking through there. More here. And like what Nicole said, guys, if you feel like you need to, you miss something, and you want to go back and remember what we did on that part, this video will be available on YouTube tomorrow. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube on a replay, we're hoping that you can join us next time. All right. Okay, I feel like I got this. Now to make, it's like so bright there. Absolutely. We're going to add some highlights. So as you notice, everything we've done is we're doing, you know, one stroke at a time, one layer at a time, because that's how it should be. You know, we cannot speed things up in here. So we're going to do one thing at a time. Do we want to add the stroke right away, or we want to add a few highlights? And this is where adding a bit another color, bringing another color would add another more visual interest to your bubble. So for example, you want to add some highlights in here. And instead of using the same purple or the same pink or the same blue that I've used, I'm bringing in another color. This is like more of an aqua mint color. And we're going to create a highlight. So it's like a teardrop, right? A teardrop shape, just like that. Just adding just like that. So the light is coming from the top, right? So all of that highlight, the light bounds over here on the top right. If you don't want to skip this part, you're feel free to do that. You don't have to, but just look at it and see if this is something that you want to add in your project. You know, so we're just learning about options. So can you imagine if you're going to make like a card or a cover for your own notebook or journals? This is going to look so cool. Add a little bit of highlights in here too. Kind of like a light is bouncing. Maybe outside. And if you've noticed, I am not close to anywhere the lines. I am inside the bubble now, right? So I'm inside. And again, notice how I'm using my pencil. I'm not using the tip of the pencil. I am using almost the whole body of the pencil to create this. I'm doing short strokes to build up that look. I love that. I think I'm going to add a little bit more here. Just like that. Just like that. I'm going to have a little bit of highlights in here just because some lights are bouncing. And that's the nature, you know, lights are bouncing everywhere. So your artwork should reflect that too. It's going to be fun. So you have a little bit of even the areas where you think there's not going to be any highlights. In nature, you'll find that. In art, you know, there's so has to be here if your light source coming from here. I mean, I do understand it, but I'm such a rebel. And I feel like, what do I feel like? Okay, I feel like adding a bit here and a bit there. But it's important to understand how it is really how to do it in the first place. But then if you want to go outside the norm and just kind of like really play around, there's also nothing wrong with that. I feel like notice how I am like connecting the two lines where I added a little bit of that dash, you know, or sometimes I add a bit more, sometimes I connect them. It just depends on where my heart is. It's just, okay, I'm playing around here. I'm just letting go and I'm just playing just like that. I really love it. I feel like I want to add a little bit here too. It's so pretty. So pretty. Yes, highlights are so pretty. Now you have the option to make your lines much thicker, more defined if you want to. So you can come back in with your white pencil and then just add extra stroke and thickness around your letters if that's something that you want to try and do, or if you want to keep it this way, you know, just keep it this way. But now we want to add those little bit of strokes where what we're saying is that the light is almost like shining in there. So I'm gonna start with small and little at a time because remember it's much easier to add than to take out anything. Okay. Although we may be able to erase it, you never know. It just sometimes depends on the paper you're using, sometimes depends on how heavy your hands are when applying. Okay. So just go little at a time. I'm going to start with from the top over here and this next part right here, I want you to know what feels more natural to you. Coming from the bottom to go on top to do your flick, it's like a flicking motion, or from the top going down. I can't decide what I feel like from the bottom going to the top feels more natural to me, heavy to go light instead of, I don't know, we'll try both. Okay. So we can try. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go one stroke at a time, lay. So we're doing flicking. So we're going light like that, like this. It's very, very, very easy on your pressure. So I'm going to start with that first, and then I'll go. It's important to sharpen your pencils. Now, if you do not, if you're using a white paper and you do not have a white pencil, I feel like with this one, you might be able to use the yellow, you know, very light yellow. If you're using a white paper, try with a very light yellow pencil. Just like that. I'm good with that. Do I need to add here? Maybe just a little. Like that. I love it. Notice the separation of each stroke, right? It's always separated. I feel like the top to bottom feels more natural. I don't know. I know earlier I said from the bottom to the top. I don't honestly, I don't know. It changes. Ah, nah, I think bottom to top feels more natural. All right, here we go. We'll add this one. That. Okay, I'm gonna work a little faster because it's almost time. It is time. I want to finish this. You know, if my light is really coming, my light source is coming from the top right, all of that sunburst should be there, but the bubbles, they reflect light. I think off camera later, I'm going to add a little bit more thickness to my letter E, but this is mostly all about it. This is it. And then, of course, to add a bit of visual interest, you want to add stars in there, which has nothing to do with bubbles, but they look good. So, you know, I start with a plus sign. I just do this to fill in that star, just like that, but that looks good. See now how I'm holding my pencil very close to the tip because I need better control. And I can do that if I change the position of how I hold my pencil. I need to add pressure in here and better handling. But this is it, guys. This is our bubble lettering. I hope that that was fun. I'm going to add some circles and I'll add more stars in a little bit off camera, but I just really want to show you this. Okay, let's give it a moment for everyone who created something with us today. If you don't mind sharing your work, we would love to see them. So this is mine. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, guys. Boss Queen EJ, make sure to stay safe. It's raining in there. Thank you all so much. Thank you, everybody. Wow, you guys are so amazing. That did so amazing. So if you are on social media, would love for you to tag us, learn with Michael's, Faber-Castell USA, and at Mommy Lay. Thank you all so much for sharing your work. That's truly fun. Yeah. Happy 4th of July, America. Be safe, have fun, have a nice celebration. And I will see you again next week. Same time, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. We have some fun classes lined up for this month of July, and I really hope that you get to join again next Wednesday. All right, so thank you, everybody. Again, my name is Leigh Bella Rolson. It was so much fun hanging out with you today. Until next time, stay creative and stay happy. Bye, all.